Hello and welcome, this is Model Fun. With this episode I start to realize the bigger plan. My dream is to have a collection of the famous fighters of World War II in 1/32nd scale. And this is where it starts. The Grumman F6F Hellcat night version from Trumpeter. Honestly, when the package arrived I felt like a little kid. Box is so huge. Here is the comparison to the 1/72nd scale kit from Airfix that I built before. I couldn't wait to see what's inside, and well, I was so excited that I did not take any pictures of what's in the box. So you have to believe me that inside you will find 9 sprues with plastic parts. All parts look great and have a lot of details, but this is not all. On the side is the small mysterious box, and the box includes clear parts. The biggest of them is the transparent engine cowling and some extras like photo etched seat belts, so cool, rubber tires, and the film part for the instrument panel. I'm excited because that will be my first time ever when I work with photo etched parts, and cannot wait to see how it goes. The total number of parts is 377, so it's a lot. Of course, we have a decal sheet as well as the instruction and a separate page with 2 versions of painting for this aircraft. Another surprise, when I was going through the instruction, finally I reached the last page. It describes the steps to build a very nice addition to the set. Towing tractor included in this kit. How cool is that? Little kid in me feels like it's his birthday now. The instruction says we start with the cockpit. There is a lot of parts that I have glued together, and at first I used the Vallejo primer to create a base for the painting. I had some trouble with the colors inside, and I looked for some references to make the decision. Trumpeter instructions uses Mr. Color paints, but because I do not have any to mix the color properly from what I have. The reference picture helps, even though I think my custom-made interior green is not the perfect match. I'm pleased with the result. After all was painted, I added some use marks with dry brush technique, and finally the dark wash to bring up the details a bit more. There is something in such detailed interiors, and I felt almost sad when I finally closed it in the fuselage. But in this scale, a lot of details is still visible. Second step is the engine, and we have a separate sprue filled only with the engine parts. I have a picture of this one. And it is quite overwhelming. The number of parts and details is very good. I decided to skip the parts for the radio installation and all the parts that will not be visible after the build. Before we can close the fuselage, we need to cut 2 holes right behind the canopy. As this is the night fighter version, these additional windows have to be there. I did it carefully with the hobby knife and a file tool for plastic. After the clear parts are in place, the tail wheels needs to be added, and we are ready to close the fuselage. Wings and the rest of the body parts were put in place very smoothly. I had some troubles with the radar, and actually this is the only part where I had to use putty. This way the model was ready for primer. I applied the primer to check if there is anything that needs to be corrected before I start the final painting. But this kit is so well designed that there was absolutely nothing to worry about. While waiting for the primer to dry, I masked the canopy, started with the thin masking tape and filled the rest with Vallejo masking liquid again. I applied a thin layer of Vallejo steel color on the spots where I plan to do some chipping. After that, I sprayed these spots with hairspray, like a regular hairspray. This is the first time I used this technique. Later it was time for some pre-shading that I did with the Vallejo black. I mounted the canopy on PVA glue and I started with the main painting. Blue color you can see on the wings is glossy sea blue from Vallejo. And on the sides, the gray one is Mr. Color intermediate gray. The underside was painted with Vallejo white mixed with black in the 10:1 proportion. All painted with an airbrush, freehand with no masking, panel after panel. Chipping was done with an old brush, toothpick and water. I'm happy with the result, I think I'll be using this technique more often. After chipping, I sprayed the whole model with the gloss varnish to prepare the surface for decals. Decals were applied with the help of decal set and decal fix solution from Amomig. After application, I secured the decals with another coat of gloss varnish and added some weathering with wash and oil paints. And well, normally that would be it, but we have one more vehicle to add to the set. The tractor was a straightforward assembly. I was happy with the hairspray technique effect I saw on the aircraft model, so I used the same for the tractor. Here, however, I have added some brownish and rusty shades before the hairspray to get the rust effect. How it ended up, you can see here. I'm pleased with the result and how it looks. Well, it was supposed to be a rapid build, but with such a large kit, it is far away from quick. Some tips for you about this build. First one, follow the instruction carefully with this model. I have skipped the assembly of the parts E6 and E9 from the 17th step, thinking I will add them after the final wing assembly, but it turned out to be not that easy and better to do this in the right order. Number 2 is paint colors replacements can be found using the color converters like the Hobby Color Converter application. This one is the one I use. Antenna wire. Just one tip, don't do it as I did. I just used copper wire for it, but I think that was a mistake. That was bad. It looks too heavy. To make the guns look more realistic, my tip is to drill the hole manually in the gun barrel. It's not that hard. If you have the manual drill, it's easy. If not, maybe you can use something else like a sharp hobby knife or something. This way we can imitate the real gun. Grumman F6F Hellcat was also called the bigger brother of the F4F Wildcat, and if we compare them, the size difference is truly visible. Here you can see my previous model, the Wildcat I did, and comparison to Hellcat. It's big. Another nickname for this aircraft was the Zero Killer. and by the end of the war the Hellcat was credited with shooting down over 5,000 enemy aircraft, which gives 75% of the entire total for the US Navy and Marine Corps. Interesting fact that I found about the production, Grumman produced 12,725 Hellcats in total, but it was all done in just 2 years. So it means that in less than every 2 hours a brand new Hellcat was made in the factories, which is amazing achievement. Kill ratio is incredible for this aircraft. It's 19-1, which means that for 19 enemy planes shot down in the combat, only 1 Hellcat was lost. Well, it is according to US data. Let me know in the comments what you think, or what I can do better. Of course, if you like the video, please subscribe and stay tuned, as the next one will be about the Messerschmitt Bf 109 G6. This is my choice for the second aircraft in my best World War II fighters collection. But I'm wondering what else I should build. If you have your favorite fighter from World War II, let me know in the comments what I should build to make my collection complete. Thank you for watching, and see you!